Hello and welcome to another new episode of Let's Talk. It's actually the final Let's Talk of the winter sports season. Thanks for joining me. As always, I'm your host, Chad Landers. So much has gone on over the winter sports season, and it really has been a lot of fun. Got some more great guests coming up on the program, but before we get to that, here is what's on my mind. Now, the beginning of March presents an interesting time for us here at BRC 11. It's the final weeks of the winter sports season. We get to cover a lot of PIAA state caliber athletes, whether it's basketball, swimming, or wrestling. But it also means spring sports are just about to kick off with the first day of practices beginning March 5th. And yeah, those will be here before you know it. And we will begin transitioning from the indoor sports I just mentioned outside for some chilly early season practices and games, whether it's baseball, softball, lacrosse, or track and field. First couple of weeks in Pennsylvania, spring sports can be a challenge for teams, fans, parents, and yeah, the media, but we are excited to get another season underway, and that also means more original content right here on Let's Talk. But for now, let's get to our show. Plenty of great guests coming up, and we'll start it off on the hard court with one of our local basketball teams that just barely made it into the playoffs, but they're making it count. It's the Garden Spot Spartans, who have had an up and down year, but make it count when the going gets tough. Hear from the Spot after the break. All right, we are here in Garden Spot country. We're talking with senior Jordan Shoebridge, who it's been a pretty good month for him, and we will get to all of that. But I want to congratulate you guys on a great start to the district playoffs. Why don't you just tell us kind of the feeling it was to get that monumental district playoff win? It hasn't happened in quite some time.
Yeah, it felt amazing actually. Like last year, you know, we didn't get the results we wanted from districts, and we couldn't make it to state. So getting it this year, like, it felt really good, and we set like team goals for ourselves like, at the beginning of the year. Like, we wanted to make it to states, and like we wanted to push ourselves and like get to the state playoff level. So having the opportunity really was amazing. And
it seems like you guys have a really nice close team. How many seniors are on this team, by the way?
We have like four maybe.
Okay,
yeah,
so the four nucleus that we all know. It's you, Javi, Keontae.
No, Keontae's a junior. It's me, Hav, Jacob, and Cameron.
You guys have had such an up and down season. We know we were here in the preseason talking to you guys. A lot of hype. You guys were excited, trying to challenge for that Section 2 title, but there was so many good Section 2 teams. Yeah. LL tournament. Had some good moments and also ran up against some good teams. Yeah. Started the district playoff off well. So in general, how would you look back at your season and kind of what do you take away from Garden Spot's year this year?
Well, I thought like this year, like something that really stood out to me is how we came back from adversity. Because last year we really struggled that in the beginning, like we couldn't quite get over the hump. It's like killed us in the end, like trying to make leagues and stuff. And this year we actually like fought through adversity and actually had the chance to play in leagues, which was awesome for me because it's my last year playing. So I mean, that was a great experience as well. So I think the most like exclamation point of the season was how we got through adversity. So
yeah, you guys have a pretty good group here, and you guys play with a certain attitude and a mindset. Can you talk to us about, is that something coaches kind of instilled in you, or is that something the players bring?
It's just how we play. Like we always play like fast. Like we got to push the ball. And Coach Troop kind of like bought into that. So that was just our like offensive mentality. Just push the ball, fast, and like we're really good at that. So we keep doing it.
So you guys almost more forced his hand than anything. I like that. That's really cool. As you've gone along, and now you've played so many years on varsity. We were just talking about beginning of the year around 600 total points, and you chased this 1,000 point milestone, which is this career-defining mark for everybody in high school these days. What was the feeling like as the season started? You knew you were in the 600s, and then as you got close to this 1,000, how was that feeling? How was the pressure, and kind of how did you handle it all?
I mean, like in the beginning of the year, I never thought I would like be that close, like 22 points away from 1,000, like because I didn't think we were gonna get this far in playoff. But like I couldn't have done it without my teammates. Like my teammates kept pushing me. It was like, Jordan, shoot the ball, Jordan, shoot the ball. And like Keontae always pushed me, and Hob and Jake always pushed me to shoot the ball. So that's what I did, and eventually I got there. So the feeling was incredible, though. I couldn't describe it.
Yeah, talk to me about it, because I mean, you guys not only get a big win in districts, but you're chasing 1,000 and then you get it. What was that like for you? I mean, that's got to be a huge sense of accomplishment for a senior. Basically your high school career will end after basically March.
Yeah, I was like during the Dover game when I shot the foul shot and I made it, like I just heard everyone screaming. I wasn't really thinking about it. I was like, oh, I guess I just hit 1,000. And so I was just like, I just looked at my mom and she was holding up a big sign. I was like, all right, I guess I just hit 1,000. So I just want to get that dub and go to states because like that was just like the exclamation point on everything. Like actually getting my 1,000 and going to states, like there's not a better feeling than that. So
yeah, congratulations to you and just the whole team. I mean, that's just an amazing accomplishment. One last question, or maybe one or two. Now you guys are headed to states. You have the district playoffs still to finish. When you look back at your senior year, what will you think? And are you going on to the next level to play somewhere else in college?
Yeah, I'm going to the next play. I'm going to the next level to play somewhere else, but I don't know where yet.
Okay.
I'm just trying to figure that out. I'm talking to some coaches, but like when I look back to my season, I just want to remember how much fun I had with these guys and just like, because I guarantee you I'm going to miss this season. I'm going to miss playing with these guys. So I'll be back to watch their games and stuff, but I'm going to miss playing here.
Awesome. I do have one more question. You led the LL in three-pointers made. How were you able to do that? And again, what does that mean to you?
Well, Troop gave me a green light since freshman year, so I mean, I kind of got that shooter mentality and just like I don't really think when I shoot, I just shoot and I just let it fly. So I mean, most of them went in, so that's kind of how I got there. I wasn't really thinking about. I didn't even know I had the most threes in the LL, but.
Yeah, we've been tracking it all year, and you're over 50, approaching 60, so, or maybe even over it at that point. So, again, congratulations on the win, states, 1,000 points. What a great senior year for you and your guys, and we're just excited to see what you guys can do here as the playoffs continue, and best of luck to Garden Spot.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming on the show. We're going to take a break. We'll take a little bit here, and when we come back, more great conversations on Let's Talk, so stay with us. All right, welcome back to the show. We are here at Warwick swim practice indoors here, and we're talking with two of the senior ladies on the swim team, Lauren Ober, Tyler Mandrell. You guys have had an incredible season, and I just want to kind of catch up with you. So here we go. You guys had an amazing performance at leagues, won leagues right on the last swim event, and now you're getting ready for districts. So what has the season been like as the postseason's really ramped up for you guys?
Leagues was awesome. Our team just really stepped it up, and we just brought everything to the pool and even more.
Right, and so it seemed like there was a lot of drama that went into leagues. It came right down to the last race between you guys and Township. What was that like heading into that last race, and was there a lot of pressure, or were you confident you guys were going to win? How did that go?
There was a lot of pressure since we didn't win the dual meet in that race. So coming into that, it's always stressful, and being on that relay, it's twice as stressful. And all you can do is swim your hardest, and there's nothing much besides that. And that's, I think, what we did. That's what you did? Yeah.
And it was such a good a win for you guys because it was back-to-back league titles, right, for the girls. You set records in the first race of the event and the last race of the event. Were you thinking you could do that, and what was your reaction when you actually did it?
I didn't think we could do it at leagues, maybe districts, but definitely not at leagues. It was such an incredible feeling. Yeah, we just swam our hearts out.
Yeah, it seemed like you guys did a great job, and you went up against mighty Manheim Township and you pulled it off again. And now as you get ready for districts, and you guys are the senior leaders of the team, do you have to talk to the team? Does Coach talk to the team? How are you approaching getting ready for districts?
Coach Mark talks to a lot of us all the time to make sure we're all in the right mindset. And then just the environment of all of us are so supportive of each other across team lines too.
What are you looking forward to swimming at districts and potentially at states?
I'm looking forward to my backstroke races in the medley, my split in the relay, and then my 100 back. And then 50 free, just having fun with it, because that's only 20 some odd seconds of your life that you can control at once. So that's just go and see how it goes.
That is a really cool race.
Yeah.
I mean, even if you're the fastest person, you don't always win that race. Yeah, that's awesome. And for you, what are you looking forward to in your senior year swimming at districts and most likely states?
It's been a rough season with health, so I'm in just relays at districts, and I'm hoping that we can make states in those events.
The medley, we have been on our A game lately, so hopefully we can make it in that. And even our 400 free relay this year, we've really stepped it up, and I think we could make it in that.
So you're not swimming any individual races at districts?
No.
Well, then let's talk a little bit about the illnesses. Since you've been somewhat open about it, can you just tell people a little bit about what you've been through with that, and maybe how much more you appreciate swimming now that you've overcome that?
Starting back in October, I went through my first case of strep throat and had 4 more cases after that.
Oh my gosh.
Then in December was diagnosed with mono, and last week I had the flu. So it hasn't been the ideal senior season as I would have hoped, but overcoming it and just being a part of a team, it's fun.
I can only imagine. And also you got to commit to college, so that had to bring a little bit of cheer to what's been a stressful senior year for you, I'm sure, right?
Yeah, knowing where I'm going was definitely a big stress relief, and just looking forward to next season, seeing what I can do.
Tyler, for you, being a part of this team and also the senior leaders that are on the team and on the relays that have done so well, how has that been for you? What have you enjoyed about being with this group of girls this season and just the past few years, with Lauren and the other seniors?
It's just nice to have like a team feeling. I've been on so many different swim teams, and I'd say that this year and last year especially, I've never felt closer to a group of girls and guys, but mostly the girls. But
yeah, that's true.
And just to see the success that we've had, especially with our relays the past 2 years, I think speaks to that.
Is there something that you're kind of hoping for in districts and states? Do you feel like the relays can really make it far?
Yeah, our what was it? The 400 freestyle relay, we missed the team record by 0.25, and that's point something for each person. It's so small for each person. That's the difference of a breath and not a breath. So I think that'll be a good goal for all of us to work towards.
I'm just curious, this is a school that Emily Cameron starred at for a while. Do you guys ever pay attention to that? Have you ever talked to her? How is that relationship?
She's come in a couple times. I wouldn't say we talked to her a whole lot, but we definitely know of her. And seeing her records, we're just like, okay, which one can we chase down? Especially like the relays, because it's a team effort and we know we can put our heads together and do it.
That's got to be a cool feeling. And is Emily Cameron one of those things where, what event could you kind of chase down one of her records in?
Well, my event is actually the 100 back, and that's the one record she didn't have. So Emily Idemiller, who held that, I got to talk to her last year. So that's what I was chasing down.
Awesome. That's so cool. I'm really happy for you ladies, and we wish you nothing but the best in districts. We'll be there to cover it, and then in states. So good luck to both of you, and again, thank you for coming on and just talking with me for a little bit. I really appreciate it, and continued health for you, for sure.
Thank you so much.
Warwick ladies here, they're ready to go for districts. We're hoping for a deeper run into states. We're going to step aside when we come back. More conversations here on Let's Talk, so we're rolling right along. Stay with us. And welcome back to Let's Talk. We are in our final segment of our final show this winter. So, of course, had to bring back our old friend of the program, John Walk from LNP Sports. How you been doing this whole season?
Good, man. It's been a fun season. It's been a wild ride. I'm ready to take a break, and then as soon as the season's over, we start up with spring sports. So
I know, isn't
no
it
rest
funny?
For the weary,
it's
right?
funny how that works out. And you guys are just running all over the place. Do you actually get to enjoy covering it, or are you just so busy that you don't get to?
Oh yeah, the games is like my treat because it's so much behind the scenes work, as you know. Like by the time you sit down to get to watch a game, and then if it goes overtime, it's like sometimes there's games where it goes so well by the end of the night you remind like, man, I really love this job.
Overtime is like a newspaper reporter's worst enemy. I love when you guys tweet out.
Well, we got a deadline to meet.
Yeah. Let's talk about the section champions real quick, because we did on our initial show of the winter season talk about that a little bit. We know who finished first in all of those. Hempfield in Section 1 brought home the crown. Lampeter Strasburg in Section 2 brought home the crown, and Lancaster Catholic in Section 3. Here's a cool little stat that we had. All those teams made the LL League semifinals, as you know. You were there for all of that. They all had 21-2 records in that round. So, did you get your picks or your prognostications correct there?
So I don't necessarily do preseason picks, but like going in, there are certain teams that you liked. In Section 1, I like Cedar Crest just because they had the most experienced roster back in Section 1 out of all the teams there. And they went through some growing pains. Now they ended up being the number 4 seed, first round bye in district playoffs, so they ended up still doing pretty well. and went toe-to-toe with Hempfield and Township pretty much all year. Section 2, we liked Ephrata, as everybody did. They had 4 of their top 6 scorers back, but they had a new coach, and I think it was kind of evident in that they lost Micah Crowder, who last year was kind of like their one guy who could really slash to the rim, and they finally identified, like, hey, we're an outside shooting team.
Oh, yeah.
And then they add in the junior Xavier Rodriguez. He can really get it done in the paint. That's a nice mix for them. So they still ended up doing pretty well, and it came down to the last play in L League semifinals, and they almost made the title game.
That was rough.
Section 3, I thought Annville-Cleona, just because, again, they were the most veteran roster out of all the teams there. But once again, Lancaster Mennonite, Lancaster Catholic, they reloaded.
Yeah, we are into the postseason. At some point, whenever you're watching this, we might be in districts, we might be in states, but certainly the elite teams are playing right now. And when you talk about that, you have to talk about Lampeter Strasburg. We saw what they did in the LL tournament, and they were just so impressive. What did you think of the Pioneers? I mean, we knew they were good, but they beat some really good teams in that tournament.
And what they've been showing of late is that they can win in a multitude of ways. A lot through the regular season, they would use their length and their speed, and they would pressure people with 1-2-2, 3-2 zones, 1-2-2 press, half-court trap, and they would get up in your face, force a lot of turnovers, and get the ball the other way, and a lot of fast break points. And more recently, they've had to play this half-court game. They throw it into Ryan Smith. He draws double, sometimes triple teams, so that leaves somebody else open. Sometimes that's been Isaac Beers. Ryan Smith, he gets it done inside. He's a Division II East Stroudsburg commit, but he's been getting D1 looks with the way he's performed this last month. But he said he's still going to be going to East Stroudsburg no matter what. But anyway, they have a lot of pieces that can really get it done. They can pressure the ball. They can really get up and down the floor. And Beers has really gotten into the lane and gotten it done, not just at the perimeter, but also inside. So they have a lot of pieces. They're really hard to defend and slow down.
Yeah, the press was tough. I've seen it a couple of times. Congrats to them on the LL title. All right, let's switch over to 6A. Got to talk about Hempfield. Good postseason run last year. Fell in the LL semis to LS just barely this year. But they've got a decent chance in 6A this year, right?
Absolutely. The thing about Hempfield, as we saw in the district, in the LL League semifinals, is they fall behind early for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They've done it all year. They get behind early, these double-digit deficits, and they've come back. Well, it was too much against a really talented Lampeter Strasburg team. They were down 19 at the start of the second quarter, and Hempfield came back, cut it to within 1 with like 40-some seconds left, but just too much at that point. So if they're able to maybe recognize that going into the district playoffs and get in front and stay in front, maybe they'll be just fine. That's really their only flaw. And the difference between last year's team and this year's team is last year oftentimes in that deep playoff run that they made, they slowed the game down. They dictated the pace. They played a half-court offense. That's completely different this year. They can still play that half-court offense and slow you down and control the game, but they can get up and down the floor and push it when they want to. There's been 13 of 24 games when Hempfield has scored 60 or more points this season, so they can light up the scoreboard at will. We all know Ryan Moffitt on the outside, David Martin Robinson on the inside, and Anthony Alston has come on strong in the second half of the year as this three-point threat. So they have all the talent in the world to get it done. It's just a matter of starting hot out the gate for them, I think.
I like Washington, too, on that as a guard. But in the 6A bracket, Reading is looming there, and so you always have to watch out for Reading.
That's a dream matchup. Like LS and Northeastern in 5A, hopefully it's going to be Hempfield and Reading in 6A. I know Hempfield probably doesn't want to hear that because Reading's really talented. You think, how's Reading back here? They had Lonnie Walker last year. They lost 4 or 5 starters, and boom, here they are. Apparently they've had this feeder system going now for the last eight years and the youth programs on up, and a lot of these kids that are playing now have been playing together for many years on end in summer ball and AAU ball, so they're a well-experienced Reading team, and apparently there's going to be a powerhouse now in 6A for years to come. But yeah, hopefully it's going to be Hempfield and Reading in the 6A title game.
Yeah, and then we'll see if they get into state playoffs, how they do there. I loved watching what they did in states. Lancaster Catholic, also a good showing this year, and fell in the finals of the LL tournament to LS, who seems to beat just about everybody. They're in 4A, and they are the top seed, so you'd have to think they've got a good shot to win a title.
Yeah, and the defending District 3 4A champions. And the interesting thing with Lancaster Catholic, they lost all 5 starters. The only 2 guys who came back, R.J. Van Tosh, the forward, Miles McCaskey, the point guard. They came off the bench last year, averaged a ton of varsity minutes that way. They're inserted into the starting lineup. Well, apparently, Lancaster Catholic last year, their JV team was a perfect 22-0, so they insert those guys with McCaskey, Van Tosh, Johnny Besker is the outside three-point threat. Dwayne Kane can put the ball on the floor. He can shoot it from the outside. And then David Kamwanga, he's come on strong the second half of the year. Interesting thing there, fans. Search for it. By the time this show comes out, that story will already be at LancasterOnline.com and in the paper. David Kamwanga, Denzel Cabaselli, they're cousins. They're from Congo. They only started playing basketball 2 years ago because they went to a basketball camp put on by NBA star Serge Ibaka, who's from Congo. Really awesome story.
That is a cool story.
These dudes are only sophomores, and they're still learning the game, and David's 6'6", and he can run the floor and dunk and all that stuff.
You can see how
So they have a
athletic he
bright
was
future.
when we did the Lancaster Catholic effort a game on TV.
So you asked me, they have the pieces there. I think out of all the teams that we talked about, Catholic probably is going to have the toughest run just because 4A is a tougher bracket, tougher draw
Catholic
there
is
with
in there
Berks
somewhere,
Catholic.
yeah. I think so. Yeah, 4A is where they belong. Garden Spot in 5A, a bit of a surprise maybe. They win that first round game, and it was a huge upset, and they also get into states.
Right, and they were in the LL League tournament first time since 2007, which Todd O'Brien was a senior at that point for Garden Spot. He's now an 11-year pro playing overseas. Had him on my podcast last year. So that's how long it's been. And then they won their first round district playoff game. I was emailing Ryan Landis, who's the Warwick athletic director. He's the previous Garden Spot coach, saying, hey, when's the last time that Garden Spot won a district playoff game? He was like, it had to been 2001, but I was going back. I couldn't find any district brackets going back before 2004.
It doesn't exist.
It's believed to be Garden Spot's first time winning a district playoff game since 2001, and you've seen them plenty of times. They're a guard-heavy group. They can run the floor, they can shoot three-pointers, and if you let them open on the outside, they're going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, really excited for them, and obviously all those guys get into states, so that'll be cool for them. Lastly, before back in December, we had you on the program. We talked about players of the year candidates, and now it's time to kind of hone in on who do you think potentially could be that singular LL boys basketball player of the year.
Well, back then we said Ryan Moffitt at Hempfield, who was a 6'6" senior star that we hit on earlier. But I think Ryan Smith, Lancaster Strasburg, has to take the throne. He's leading the league at scoring, 19 points per game. Now 15 players have scored 30 or more in a game so far this season. Ryan Smith is the only one to do it multiple times. He's done it count them six times, including a season-high 39 points in the LL League quarterfinal game, which is the highest single game total by any LL League player so far this season. And, you know, he gets it done in the post. He's an old-school post player. It's like, it seems like everybody's the Golden State Warriors and want to shoot a three. So he's kind of like refreshing to watch.
It is
and
nice,
he gets the ball, and he's very composed, and he gets it done. And he can step out and knock down the three.
It's also frustrating when you're covering the team that has to face him and you don't have any size, and he just dominates down low.
Right, and you know, it's not often, and that's why a lot of teams have started going to that perimeter game, because when are you going to find a 6'10" player? He's kind of
Taylor Funk. It's hard for them to. They don't always move into the school district.
Right. So if there was a physical trophy, I'd have to give it to Ryan Smith at this point.
I think so. I would agree too, especially seeing your article on the 30-point games that he had. I think he was pretty dominant, and I think that's it. I mean, I could keep firing questions at you, but we run out of time, and I know you have some. You're working on winter and spring, so you got to get to all that. But again, thanks for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We will have to chat again later in next season.
Yeah, I'll be covering boys and girls lacrosse, so maybe we can come back and chat about Effort and Warwick and all that.
Yeah, we will have a ton of that. John does terrific work for Lancaster Online in their sports department. If you want to catch all of his stuff, it's one easy place. Just go to his Twitter handle @JWalkLNP. And, of course, we're always on Twitter @News11 Sports. But for now, that'll do it for the last episode of Let's Talk this winter. I will be back with another brand new season of Let's Talk in the spring, so stay tuned for that. But as always, thanks to all of you for tuning in. I am your host, Chad Landers, and I'm sure we'll have more to talk about next time. I'll see you in the spring.